Okay, the time has come to dig the onions, I believe. They might get a little bit bigger, and you know, I'm not really pushed for the space. I've got a couple tomato plants I'd like to put there though, so I'm going to go ahead and dig them out, put the tomato plants in that area. Not sure what I'm going to plant where I dug the potatoes out just yet, but we'll figure it out. And I did plant, you can see back there in that bed where the newspaper is, in the far bed, I planted, it is a heat-tolerant hybrid called a Phoenix tomato. It's a determinate. And so I planted it here in the front, and then I've got these two jalapeno peppers as well. But in the back, right between the newspaper and the wood there, I've got a couple of green beans planted. And then further down, I've got a couple of squash planted. So I'll let you know these vining plants grow up the trellis here, obviously, and then in front of them I'll plant smaller, bushier sort of stuff. So, but anyway, we're going to go back over here. We'll pull these onions up, and heck, I'll give you guys even the first look here before I start yanking wholesale. But how about this big guy, huh? Let's take this one up. Oh man, that's got some roots on it. Look at the size of this onion. How tall the tops are. Look at that bulb. That is a good size onion. By far the best onions I've ever grown in my life. So man, I hope these things cure up. I hope they don't rot out on me. I believe you're not supposed to pull them for about a week after you've had a rain or anything. We had a rain. See, today's Sunday. Last heavy rain we had was Wednesday evening, so it hasn't been a whole week. But I'm going to go ahead and pull them, and hopefully I can, again, get them cured up, rinsed off, and hopefully they'll store proper. If not, I'll just chop them up and freeze them. But I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest now. Maybe I can set the camera down here to where you guys can see it. But for right now, all I'm going to do is just pull them and set them right here in the garden. Let the sun hit them and dry them. But I think my camera's not going to stand up for me here. I might have to flip it over the other way. Yep, okay. Here, I'll flip the camera over and I believe that'll work. There we go. I can't ever get it to balance on the other side because it's got the volume buttons. But I'm not sure what all you guys can see, but you kind of get a bug's eye view here of the destruction as I get to ripping these onions out. Pull them out, shake the roots off, and just lay them down. Pull them out, shake the roots, lay them down. And as I'm doing this, I'll go through and I'll pull out, I get these little weeds and stuff sprouting up. This daggum grass, pull that stuff out. I don't know, am I blocking the camera already? Yeah, just about, huh? There we go. I'm going to lay them over here in the yard behind me. That way they're not blocking y'all's view. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, sure, that looks good. This one here, holy moly. Look at the roots on that guy. It's a good looking onion there. Nice thing about onions, it's not like potatoes where you're digging. Look at this. Got me an earthworm. I love seeing earthworms in the garden. Yeah, it's interesting too, because say you're not supposed to compost your citrus or your garlic or your onions because the worms don't like it, but they don't seem to mind digging in the dirt around the live onions. That's a little one. Got a big top one. You'd think it'd be a big onion, but it's a little one. I'm going to go ahead and move this big guy over there. The first one I pulled. This one here. Oh yeah, these are awesome. I don't even like onions all that much, but I'm just so daggone excited to have them growing so good. I mean, I do like them. I love to cook with them. Some people love onions. Here you go. There's a little guy. That's about what I got last year before it got too hot for them. But these onions, just as a reminder, these were planted back in November, planted from seed. Very few people actually grow their onions from seed just because it's quicker and it's easier to grow them from a bulb or from a set or from live onions. But I wanted to try it from seed just to see what happened. I actually bought the seed with the intent that I would sprout it in seed trays and grow up the little bulbs and then use those to plant out in the spring. But I really like the way this turned out as far as growing them through the winter. They didn't seem to be affected by any of the frosts that we got. And so I think as long as I have the garden space, I'll probably grow them through the winter in future times. There's another little guy. what's funny is even this little one had tops on it, 2.5 feet tall. It's a little bitty onion. It probably would have got a lot bigger, but a couple of these little ones were little because they were crowded by the bigger ones beside them. But, oh yeah, goodness gracious. These things are awesome. They're kind of funny. They're not really round or globe like you'd expect. They're kind of a flat bottom. Now look at this. See how gray or kind of almost white and ashy that looks? I'm not sure what that is. I think it's some sort of fungus. I don't know that it's detrimental. I haven't seen any issues with it. I haven't seen near as many mushrooms sprouting in my garden this year as I did last year, but last year the soil had a lot more raw organic matter in it. Had a lot of wood chips and stuff in it that hadn't really decomposed. This year, of course, the soil is just absolutely wonderful. By far one of the best investments I ever made is investing in my soil. And I really didn't spend too much time on it, but you just have to be willing to let it sit, work with it a little bit, grow what you can, but do not go out and fill your raised beds with Miracle-Gro. You don't have to go buy their fancy moisture control potting mix. I mean, come on. That stuff, I don't believe in it. I believe, yeah, okay, it might have moisture control, it might work, but the best thing you can do for moisture control is high organic content. Lots of organic matter. I've seen a few videos. If you haven't, look them up. The videos on the hugelkultur garden. You build a raised bed, but before you do, you dig a pit below it, and you fill it full of chunks of wood, logs, branches, limbs, chunks. Because as that wood starts to rot, it's a huge sponge, and it's a huge, huge water source that stays in your garden for you. On top of that, as it decomposes, it's organic matter. So you can't go wrong. I'll pull out a few more weeds here. Can y'all see the last few onions standing over there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get that one. That one. Oh. There's a little guy. Great big guy here. And one more big one over here. Alright, that's it. Let me run in here in the shed. I've got some newspaper here, but I'm going to get some clean, dry newspaper, and I'll lay them all out on the newspaper, and then we'll take a shot for you guys. Oh yeah, that's good stuff there. I underestimated, actually. I only brought out one sheet of newspaper. Probably could have used two, but the way that I stacked them up here is I want the bulbs to get good sunlight and good air exposure to help cure them out. So what I did was I just went through and laid out the first row with the tops laid straight out that direction, and then went through and stacked the next row on top of them. Same thing, tops laid out. So it puts all your bulbs on top, your tops below. But man, I mean, this is just a pile of onions. And I love those tops. They look so good. Such healthy plants. Yeah, I figure maybe someday I'll actually send off for a soil sample and see what I got. But I'm telling you guys, the simplest thing you can do is just let it be. Don't fall for all the organic fertilizer, or not organic fertilizers, those are okay. Don't fall for all the commercial fertilizers. Don't fall for the Miracle-Gro super soil garbage. And keep in mind, I don't have anything against Miracle-Gro. I just feel like that stuff is, I mean, it's a mass-produced commercial product, so take it with a grain of salt as to what, do they really care about the quality of the soil, or do they care about making a buck? And when you can buy the stuff for $1 a bag or whatever when it's on sale, there's probably not a whole lot in it. Now, I have learned down here in Texas, or at least I was told by a nursery, that in order to market a product under a given name, it has to only contain 1% of that actual product. I don't know how true that is, but the example being, I asked him why when I go and I buy a bag of, quote, compost, it's so full of wood chips and sand and debris. And he said, well, yeah, because it really actually only has to contain 1% of true composted material. So they water it down with wood chips, which, if you want to fill your bed with that compost, give it 2 years and you'll have good soil, because you got to take time for those wood chips to break down. But anyway, it's not the point. The point is the onions. The point is the amazing soil that I have in my garden The only thing I do to it is I sprinkle it every now and then with Texas green sand, and I put the organic matter on it that I've composted down. I have a couple little bags in the greenhouse of worm castings and rock phosphate, but they're little 5-pound bags. I use them mostly for compost tea, and I actually haven't done any compost tea on anything in the garden this year. So what you're seeing there with those red potatoes looking that good, with that garlic looking pretty good, those carrots back there and those peas that are just astronomical, and that massive cabbage, and all this beeswax here in front doesn't have anything to do with it, but everything looks really good. No compost tea. Now, compost tea might help. Might be worth it. Actually, the only reason I haven't done it is because my stinking sprayer is messed up on me. I'm going to have to go buy a new sprayer, I guess. But anyway, look at the onions. Beautiful onions. See ya.